today we are making our own homemade pepperoni pizza. So first I'll introduce the ingredients to you. So here we have 3 grams of salt. We have 10 grams of sugar. We've prepared water and warm water, which we will mix with the sugar and yeast. For yeast, we are using 6 grams of it, or we just round it to half of a tablespoon. We also have the usual ketchup, pepperoni, and mozzarella cheese, preferably sliced up in slices. We also have 300 grams of flour as to make the dough and to make the actual pizza. So now that we have all of the ingredients, let's get baking. So now let's start actually making the actual pizza. So our first step is to add 10 grams of sugar, which we have introduced in the ingredients, to the warm water I've set up right here. So now let's just pour all of this in. Now we have to put the 6 grams of yeast in the warm water also. So right here we have a measuring cup. So this is 1/2 of a teaspoon right here. So let's just measure it. Make sure you get 1/2 of a teaspoon, or around 6 grams of it, and you just put it in the warm water. So now let's move on to step 2. So step 2 is we have to put the warm water, which now has 6 grams of yeast and 10 grams of sugar in it, into the 300 grams of sugar. So first let's make sure there's a hole where we can pour into, and after we can stir it easier, and the effect will be much easier than usual. So we have the mixture right here, and let's pour it right in the center of it. And right after you pour all of the mixture in there, you want to mix it up. Stir it. So off camera we've done some stirring and mixing. So now all of this is dried up into its proper shape. Now if it's too dry or too sticky, you can add or try to add more flour or water into it to make sure the mixture is evenly balanced. So now let's add the 3 grams of salt into our mixture right here. And we can continue stirring and mixing. So now let's start actually making the shape of the pizza. So now that our dough is ready and well polished, we can just leave it in the bowl. Make sure to cover it up. Make sure that the least amount of air is leaking in and out, and we just have to let it. Sit there for around 20 minutes. Around like an hour later, our dough has doubled in size. So the next step is to release some of the air within the dough, or else the pizza will be partially hollow and empty. So you simply have to just push it. See, there's some air leaking out, and make sure it's pretty flat and pretty solid. So we've successfully pulled the dough out of the bowl, and now we're kneading it again into a better shape. This is a tip that some dough makers would advise to use. Sprinkle some flours onto your tabletop, and it will make it so that the dough does not stick to the table, and it will make it easier for you to remove the dough once you're finished kneading it. Bake 2 to 5. We are advised for around 250. We chose 225. Hit bake. So now, as you can see, we're rolling the soon-to-be pizza into a flat shape because our homemade pizza is crispy and very, very flat. So we're using a roller to roll the dough into a very flat shape. And after we've done that, we can start making the pizza. We have now finished rolling the dough, and we put it into our rectangular pan. It doesn't have to be rectangular, you can make it whatever shape you want, but we just chose rectangular as it's our best pan currently. Make sure you have a sheet under the dough so it doesn't stick. And now grab a fork or any sharp objects to poke holes in it to make sure some air flows through when baking. So now that we finished poking all the holes in our pizza, it's time to apply the sauce and the cheese and the pepperoni. So first we have the ketchup. So now you just want to spread it evenly across the pizza. As you can see, our pizza now has evenly spread ketchup on it. So now we can put some toppings on it. So first we have to put on the pepperoni slices. Make sure to get them evenly spaced out to make it look nice. You don't have to, but it just looks very nice if you're presenting it to someone. Now, after waiting around 10 minutes to 15 minutes, the oven is now ready to go, so we can finally put our pizza in. After 20 minutes of baking, we have pulled out the pizza because first we need to apply the cheese. You may have been wondering why we didn't apply the cheese in the first place. Well, it's because the cheese would be fried if it went along with the other toppings. So now let's spread the mozzarella cheese. Spread it evenly and make sure it covers the lot of area of the pizza. Unless it won't be any pizza you've seen, it will just have pieces of cheese, and we don't want that, do we? So now that we have spread all the cheese, we can now put it back into the oven and let it bake for another 10 or 20 minutes. We have now finished baking the pizza. It is now out of the oven and we are ready to slice it and eat it. So here goes. Thank you for watching our video on how to make your own homemade pepperoni pizza.